I wanted to share a recent article that's been going viral, a report out of the University of California, San Diego. And it's out in the Atlantic. I don't know if you can see this very well here, but a recipe for idiocracy. I'm just going to read a little bit here to give you an idea of the situation, okay? This is a great school, University of California University System. And 5 years ago, about 30 incoming freshmen in their first class of that year arrived with math skills below high school level. It's 5 years ago. What happened 5 years ago? 2020, the pandemic, we know. Now, according to a recent report, that number is more than 900. 30 to 900. And most of those students don't fully meet middle school math standards. It goes on to blame everybody, lowering standards, this, that, the pandemic, whatever. It goes on to blame a lot of people for why that is. But I have my theory, and I want to tell you what I've seen here. Just being on the ground where we have such a diverse student population of kids that arrive from all over the place with their own ideas of what it means to be at the standard. So what's actually happening here is that it's always been true that students were a little bit behind, okay? And the school system, in this very standardized set of instruction, where everybody uses the same math book, everybody gets the same thing, would just try to drag people along, okay? They would drag people along, everyone would get the same instruction, and those who failed, or those who fell behind, they failed. That's what happened. They failed. They wouldn't graduate high school, they would drop out, they would create problems for society, obviously. And so society didn't want that. And what did they do? Well, they said, it is better for us as a society to graduate students, to not have 15 and 16-year-olds completely out of the system. We'll bring them through. And you can look at the evidence and see that, at least in the United States, graduation rates have never, ever been higher. I mean, in my hometown, I think only one student in the entire city did not graduate in that 12th grade year. So how does that happen? Well, obviously, there is a benefit to society of graduating students. College enrollment has almost never been higher because of that, but they're having to pass people through. Now, there's not a problem per se with keeping children in school to continue being educated. I actually think we see the benefit to society, and that's why you're seeing that happen. What's really the problem is that the pandemic sent kids home. They were unable to do what they had been doing before, which is give everyone the same thing at the exact same time. And there was a gap that was formed. Students fell a little bit behind. They were already behind typically, but they fell a good bit behind here. And then when they came out of the pandemic, what they could have done is meet the kids where they were. Oh, you missed 5th grade? Well, that's great. We'll work at 4th grade. They did not. Instead, they decided that what we'll do is try to teach faster or teach harder or teach better. Put a lot of pressure on the teachers to do something unique and better. But it doesn't work. And so that 5th grader who didn't get 5th grade math was at a 4th grade level receiving 6th grade math. And what do you think happened? They didn't get it. They didn't come close to getting 6th grade math. But because of the system of wanting to graduate everybody, then they went to 7th grade. And did they move up from 7th grade and maybe at a 5th or 6th grade level? No, they stayed down there at 4th because they were not given the opportunity to work on the skills that they needed. And the problem gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is how it's possible that 900 students entering one of the top universities in the country are still at the middle school level. Where were they? That's where they were when the pandemic hit. They were stuck there in middle school level, and they were never given the opportunity to work on those fundamental skills, and they just stay there. Sometimes even going backwards because you begin to realize, like, well, I'm not good at math, or I can't learn math, so I'll just stop doing it. We don't need to do that. Like, we don't need in 2025 to pretend that a child that is learning at an instructional level of a 5th grade or a 7th grade or a 9th grade needs to just simply receive instruction at their actual grade level because, they're at their grade level. I see it time and time again. Students arrive here and they come from all over the world, and where they're from, they were told, whether it's from some elite private school in this country or somewhere else, they were told, hey, you're a top student. You made an A or a B in Algebra 1 last year. They show here And when we use assessments, real assessments that track where their actual level is, not ones where we're helping students, not ones where we stop the school year and try to prepare the students for all these types of questions. I mean, actually sitting them down at some moment and saying, well, let's test your skills. It is the norm to see students a couple of years behind. That's always been the norm, by the way. It's always been the norm. But previously, we used to just say, well, just drag them forward and they'll get something. Nah, if you are a seventh grader and you get an assessment when you show up here, and that assessment shows that you are lacking 100% of the skills in a fifth grade math mission, then what should happen? And in my opinion, you should receive instruction and resources at that fifth grade level. It seems easy. I mean, that seems to be super like clear that you would work on those fifth grade skills, and when you mastered them, what would you do? The sixth grade and then the seventh grade. We have tools that will allow that kid to be in the same room, receiving the same instruction, receiving the same resources, and working side by side with kids at different levels. We can do it. But there's still currently a little bit of a problem. When we meet these kids, okay, and they last year made an A or a B in seventh grade at their previous school, in their previous country, or wherever they're from, and we evaluate them and we say, look, it shows that you've only actually mastered about 65% of the fifth grade skills. And that doesn't mean you can't master all 100% of them quickly. It might mean that you forgot some of them over time. But it shows that you're a little bit behind. Let's work there until you master them all. What do you think those kids say? Now, not all of them, but I just want to share this with you. What do you think those kids say? A lot of them say this: my parents won't be happy if I'm working behind level, or I already passed that. Think about that in terms of physical fitness. If I can bench 185 pounds when I was in high school, and then we go to the gym and my new personal trainer, after having not worked out for several years, says, how much do you want to start working out at? And I say, well, I used to lift 185. I guess let's start there. What good is that to me? I'm actually where I'm at, and I need to go back there and work on those skills. The reason I'm sharing this is because there is something that we can do as parents, as a community, as society, to ensure that our students never feel that way, that they never feel like I actually can't go back and work on the skills that I need, because that will mean something to someone else. It will mean that I'm not as good or I'm behind. It's not true. If you allow, in your home or in this school or in our community, for everybody to feel like, you know what, I'm actually going to work on the skills that I need to learn, I'm going to get better at that level, you will see it happens all the time. You will see that students can master multiple years of math, multiple years in 1 year. It's not like this has to take a full year. If you are in seventh grade and you actually need to reinforce those fifth grade skills, you go back, you work on them, you get a little better, and guess what? The sixth grade mission is so much easier for you because you have all of the prerequisite skills that you need. And you work through those and you work through those. And you know what? Sometimes you'll find out that that kid ends up in eighth grade by the end of the year anyways. We do them no favors by pretending that where they're at is not where we can serve them. And so I think that news story shows a great example of what happens when we don't do that. And we have the opportunity at Isla not to do that. We don't have to do it. Nobody is telling us we have to do it. The only thing we have to do as a group is make sure that our kids feel safe to work on the skills that they actually need.